Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, coming to you from Radio Row in New Orleans for Super Bowl Media Week. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about Cooper Kupp. Should the Pittsburgh Steelers make a move for the Rams wide receiver? Yesterday, Cooper Kupp announced on his X account that the Rams are officially shopping him, quote-unquote, immediately. So what we're going to be talking about on today's show, should Omar Khan, the Steelers GM, finally make a move for a number 2 receiver here in Pittsburgh in the coming days? Before we get into the content today, make sure you guys hit that sub button. We got extensive Steelers coverage coming to you from Radio Row here in New Orleans all week long. So make sure you click that subscribe button to never miss an interview, never miss a video that we put out here from NOLA. Okay, now let's get into what Cooper Kupp put on his X account last night. This is what he posted. I was informed that the team, talking about the Rams, will be seeking a trade immediately and will be working with me and my family to find the right place to continue competing for championships. I don't agree with the decision and always believed it was going to begin and end in L.A. So you look at Cooper Kupp here and kind of his profile. He's 31 years old. He's going to be 32 next year. Still brings some good size to the table at 6'2", 194 pounds. Of course, he's known for his slot versatility, can play in the slot, can also play outside. He's an excellent run blocker, which makes him an excellent fit in Arthur Smith's offense, and that's exactly why the Pittsburgh Steelers were interested in trading for Kupp before the 2024 NFL trade deadline this year. So there's lots of people connecting Cooper Kupp to the Steelers because, hey, if they were interested in him at the trade deadline, why not be interested in him now? Well, one of the reasons might be the potential cap hit that the Pittsburgh Steelers would have to take on if they trade for Cooper Kupp. Next year, his cap hit is at $20 million. You have to take on his base salary and the roster bonus, which is around $7.5 million if you trade for him right now. And then in 2026, you have to take on a $19.85 million cap hit. So for somebody of Cooper Kupp's stature as a wide receiver at this point in his NFL career, he's not necessarily somebody, in my opinion, that should be commanding that kind of cap space. So I think that if the Steelers end up trading for him, they're probably going to have to rework his contract, and that's what's going to happen here, guys. No matter where Cooper Kupp ends up going to for the 2025 season and beyond, I don't think whoever acquires him is going to keep him on his current contract. I think there's going to be a reworked deal, maybe add a year to his current contract, maybe add some void years so that his cap hit isn't as high as it is right now. And then another possibility is that the Rams just end up cutting him because no team wants to take Cooper Kupp on his current contract. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Cooper Kupp in the days and weeks to come. But coming up here on Steelers Talk, I'm going to give you my thoughts on Cooper Kupp, whether I think the Pittsburgh Steelers and Omar Khan should make a big move and trade for Mr. Kupp this offseason. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time. And Game Time is the best place to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All you have to do is select the Game Time Picks button at the top of the screen when you click into an event you want to go see, and Game Time's automatically going to filter through their entire database to find you the best tickets at the best prices with the best deals for you and your family. What I love about using the Game Time app is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all-in pricing so you don't get slapped with a crazy fee at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. It's just for that first purchase, guys. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS. It's right down there in the bottom of your screen right now for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So my take on the Cooper Kupp situation, guys, when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, is I wouldn't mind if the Steelers ended up getting him, but there are certainly other options out there that I would probably rather get if I were Steelers GM over Omar Khan. This isn't the trade deadline anymore where you have very limited options. You got free agency, you got the trade market, you got the draft, and Cooper Kupp, although he's a pretty decent fit in Arthur Smith's offense, is getting older and has had some injury issues. So let's go over the positives of potentially getting Cooper Kupp in a Steelers uniform this year. He's still a pretty darn good player. He's not the player he used to be. He is a diminished product from when he had arguably the greatest season for a wide receiver in NFL history back in 2021. And part of the reason for that is some injuries, but we'll get to that in a second. He's also a great fit. He gets over the middle, gets open over the middle of the field, great run blocker, all the things that Arthur Smith is looking for in a Steelers wide receiver. But some of the negatives, guys, he is getting older. As I've mentioned, he's going to be 32 next season, and you guys can see some of the diminishing returns in terms of his athleticism on tape now compared to where he was just a few seasons ago. Take a look at his production here. As you guys can see, his numbers have gone down relatively quite a bit here. The last 2 seasons he's played 12 games. You guys can see the availability hasn't been phenomenal. Just 9 games played in 2022 and then 12 games played both in 2023 and 2024. So he's still a very good player, still gets open, really good route runner, really good run blocker, but it's nothing close to what he was doing back in 2021, where he almost had 2,000 yards receiving. So I think that Cooper Kupp would be a fine addition for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially if they're getting him to be their number 2 receiver as opposed to being their number 1 receiver in 2025. But some receivers I would rather go get if Tyreek Hill is available, and it certainly seems like he could be available via trade. I would love to get Tyreek Hill in a Steelers uniform if they can swing it. Also, Garrett Wilson, if he's made available this offseason, which is a possibility. I think that, with him being still so young, just 24 years old, he could be your number 1 receiver for the future. I'd give up the Steelers' first-round draft pick in order to land him. I would like Devontae Adams as well. I still think, despite him getting older, I still think he's doing a really good job getting open. His release package is still elite. T. Higgins is somebody in free agency that's going to be extremely expensive, but we know the Steelers really like T. Higgins as a player. We know Mike Tomlin only has nice things to say about T. Higgins. So if you're looking for somebody to replace George Pickens as kind of that dynamic threat on the outside and you want to trade Pickens this offseason, I think T. Higgins is a really good option. And then honestly, a guy that plays a very similar role to Cooper Kupp, but I think has now surpassed him, is Chris Godwin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's coming off an injury, so keep that in mind. But Godwin was having a career year before he had that massive injury that ended his 2024 season. So I would rather have all of those receivers in a Steelers uniform over Cooper Kupp. I also think that the Steelers need to draft a younger wide receiver to be able to have a talent in that room for the future. If you get Cooper Kupp, this is going to be something that is kind of a short-term Band-Aid, somebody that's kind of a shorter-term option. I would love if the Pittsburgh Steelers get somebody a little bit younger to be able to bolster this wide receiver room for many years to come. So if you want Cooper Kupp, honestly, because of the contract situation and the fact that the Rams are, kind of lost their leverage, to become completely frank with you, with Cooper Kupp posting that on his X account yesterday. I think that you could probably get him for a 5th-round pick. He's a guy on the other side of 30 at this point. Obviously, the Rams don't want to keep him around, so they don't really have the leverage in this situation. If I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, what I would offer for Cooper Kupp, if I can't get those other receiver options we talked about earlier in the show, I would offer a 5th-round pick for Cooper Kupp. And, really, if you're paying anything more than that, guys, I think you might be overpaying, especially if you don't rework his contract and you're taking on a $20 million cap hit for a guy that, frankly, has diminished physically over the last couple of seasons. So would you accept this trade? Let me know down there in the comments section. Type A for accept or D for decline. Personally, I would be okay with this trade if Omar Khan was able to make it happen, but let me know. A for accept, D for decline. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already for extensive coverage from Radio Row here in New Orleans on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really do appreciate all of your support. We got Steelers players that we're going to be interviewing this week that we're going to be putting up on the channel. So if you want that extensive coverage, don't forget, click that subscribe button right now.